Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I've received a few comments on my YouTube videos regarding my camera options, camera settings, and often people comment, "What's that little reticle thing in the middle of your screen?" Well, today I'm here to answer all those questions and give you a rundown on how to make Guild Wars 2 a more action-oriented game and give you some information and knowledge to allow you to alter and tweak your camera setup to maybe give your gameplay a different flair than what you're normally used to. Let's head on over to the live KROOF where I can show you how to activate action camera and how to further augment certain settings and camera positioning. Welcome to the explanation portion of this video, and I have actually reset my camera options, and I gotta admit, it looks very strange to me. I have not seen the default options for the Guild Wars 2 camera settings in a long time. But before we get to the camera settings, let me first explain how to activate action camera, as this tool is not really described or explained when someone is starting up Guild Wars 2. You'll head on over to the options section and then down into the control options. We will come down over to camera under the control options. Now there's a few different categories of camera settings, but what we're looking for is toggle action camera. Now, all you have to do is create a keybind. In my case, I'm using the combination of Shift-C, and once I press Shift-C, the reticle will activate on my screen, my cursor will go away, and I now no longer have to hold right click to move the camera. I just move my mouse and it automatically moves for me. When I also press left click, my auto attack will be used. So if you're looking for more of a classic action style MMO or RPG experience, action camera is fantastic. There's also a keybind that you can set up to disable action camera momentarily if you wish to do so. I typically just use the toggle action camera. Just hit my keybind multiple times to come out to my cursor, hit it again to go back into the action camera mode. You have action camera now set up, but you might be noticing that the current camera setup might not be the most advantageous for an action camera experience, and I would have to agree with you. That's why we will head on over to the General Options tab and scroll on down to Camera. This section is where you will have a lot of fun and can tailor your Guild Wars 2 experience and focal points to your own desires. Rotation speed just controls the rate and the speed at which your camera will rotate around your character. Setting this higher will increase the speed. Setting this lower gives you more control and a slower pace over the rotation speed. Have horizontal position. This is where I get a lot of my action feel for action camera. I tend to lean more to the right. Some people might want to go to the left, an off shoulder to the left camera angle. I prefer going a little bit more to the right. And this is where when you're in action camera, you have more of a side view. You have something more akin to classic action games. Two options for vertical position. This is also really useful, and also not just for action camera. In my opinion, the current defaults for the Guild Wars 2 camera are not my favorite, and this is what it currently looks like. However, I tend to like to bring my camera a little bit closer to the ground when I'm up close to my character so that I can see a little bit more of the action and not have it feeling like my character is hidden behind the hotbar. So that's vertical position near. It interacts with the closeness of your camera. So if you're far out, you'll notice that if I use this, the near, it doesn't really affect as much as, say, the far. The far is where you really get a lot of that increased visibility depending on how you want to see that visibility. Near is when your camera's a little bit more near to see your character. Far really affects when you're scrolled out. When you are outside of action camera, vertical position far will stay at the lowest. This is something I'm not a huge fan of. When you go into action camera, you will see that when you're further out, the action camera will automatically bump itself up. Personally, I really get agitated by this. I like to have control over where my vertical position far is at, and sometimes it hides my character behind hotbars and makes it feel like I can't see what is necessarily behind the camera as much. I get more of a view of what's in front, and it definitely helps with ground targeting skills, but it does take some of that freedom away, and it does force you to have a little bit more of a raised view. Regardless, I understand why this is the case, because it really helps with, as I said, the ground targeting skills with action camera. Now we have zoom sensitivity. This just alters how sensitive your zoom is. The lower it is, the more precise you can get with the zoom. The further out it is to the right, the more it will zoom with each scroll. You don't have to do as much scrolling if you push it out further. Next for the camera is field of view. Field of view is something I really pay attention to, and this can make your game feel more actiony if you want to punch it in, or if you want to get some more effectiveness, you can increase the field of view to see more of the battlefield. But this is essentially what it does. It's very simple. It punches your field of view in. So if you want to have a very cinematic experience, maybe get some video footage of your character talking, it's great. If you want to see more of the battlefield and more of the game, you can punch the field of view out and you get to see more of it. It kind of creates a fisheye effect where it kind of looks more, round in a way, I feel. But I like to kind of play a little bit closer in. This is what I personally gravitate towards, especially in action camera. It feels very actiony, and I really enjoy that. Now, I want to talk about one more option for the camera. This option down here, adjust camera to character height. All the settings that we played around with affect our characters universally, and our characters might not universally be the same height. So by clicking this option, adjust camera to character height, it will raise or lower the camera default position to that specific height. So if you're on an Asura, it will drop it down lower. If you're on a Char or a Norn, it'll drop it down, or bump it up, I should say, a little bit higher to make the settings more normal. We click this and it gets it a little bit more of that full body view, which I usually go for. I really love adjust camera to character height. It comes in clutch. And this is how you get the fundamental first person view of action camera. We're even gonna push this out a little bit more to the right to just highlight the flexibility with the camera. And now you can just start having some fun going into combat. You can use your auto attacks. Also, I do have screen shake on because my camera options were set to default. Be sure if you want to disable camera shake, you click this option. It can come in handy. With those basic settings, you are free to play with action camera, free to play around with your camera options in terms of horizontal and vertical positions. However, I want to leave you with a little bit more information when it comes to general combat and what I like to use when I am playing in action camera. So for this, we will have to go down to combat and movement. When it comes to action camera, your ground targeting abilities might feel a little bit different. And what I prefer to use with this is ground targeting fast with range indicator. I'm holding down my 8th ability and I continue to hold down the skill. Once I let go of the number 8, it casts the ability. I prefer this method as I still get to place my area of effect and see where it's going. Normally, you have to hold 8 and then press the button again. However, with action camera, it might be more advantageous to simply use fast with range indicator. Even if you're not using action camera, you might want to play around with this. It makes it a little bit more quick. Additionally, I like to set lock ground target at maximum skill range for action camera. If you don't have this clicked, you can actually do this, which is create a red ring. Now this can still work even if you have this option selected because you're looking at something so far off in the distance and it kind of like bugs with the stuff. However, if you are ground targeting, you actually cannot go any further than what is selected here. You see, it doesn't go any further and you will always cast it at its maximum range. Additionally, I would really recommend using allow skill retargeting. This allows you, if you are using a channel ability, say Ranger Longbow 2, to retarget another enemy if you need to swap targets or if the target you are currently fighting dies and there's another character there for you to target. And that was my full rundown of how to activate Action Camera and different camera options that you can use to elevate your Guild Wars 2 experience in and out of Action Camera mode. Thank you all so much for coming on by. Leave your tips if you have any others in the comment section down below, and any further questions, feel free to post them in the comments as well. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below, and if you'd like to support the channel and get early access to videos, come on over to the Patreon. If you're interested in purchasing Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons or trying the game for free, I have links there as well. Also, ExpressVPN is a lovely VPN service, and links are posted there as well. Thank you all so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye everyone. Mwah.